Good evening from Ballater. It's the very end of January and it's almost 5 o'clock and it's getting brighter nights again. So here we are outside the gallery for a little bit of an update on what's happening as we enter the second half of our winter show. So in the front window, we've got stunning new paintings from Michael Clark, Hannah Cassaniel, Ruth Corbett. Over to the other side, Tom, a great big fabulous utterly outstanding large lilies by the one and only Marion Drummond, and the most gorgeous bronze from Lawrence Broderick, which we'll talk about later. Come on in and have a look. So great to be inside. It's not that cold actually, but I'm standing here with my arms sort of defensively. I don't know why, because I'm not being even remotely defensive, because we were closed for a week 2 weeks ago to have a full refurbishment, redecoration of inside. In a couple of weeks' time, I think we're going to be tackling outside. So we've gone for, not turning into Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen, but here we've gone for a gorgeous dark colour of blue, which I think really highlights these paintings. These are new pastels in from the incredibly talented Tony Allain, and up above, gorgeous still life. So the landscapes by Tony and the still lifes by one of our newest signings, Astrid Trügg. If you just want to actually, Tom, while we start here, go right up and have a look at Astrid's and Tony's, and then we can skip them when we go through. The whole purpose of this update to you, so as we've entered the second half of the winter show, we'll yabble away about what's sold earlier. Talking about Astrid's painting Lobster and Shells sold incredibly quickly when we opened. So it's great to see that we've got three little ones and one average-sized painting in by her. This has just been hung today by Alison Cowan. Alison's, a stalwart of just great. She has great ability to see things in paintings, and the way she paints with acrylic is so different from anyone else with a palette knife rather. And this painting, Blanket of Snow, couldn't be more on cue as the snow's beginning to leave Ballater. And this is a new one, bang, I'd say right again, up to speed, botanical burst as we go into spring. You might want to, Tom, just, we'll just go straight down talking about spring colours. What we've decided to do in the second half of the show is really emphasise some of the changing colours that we're seeing here. This is actually, we came upon the Poppies by Kirsty Wither. Now, Kirsty's great big name, selling all London galleries, Open Eye in Edinburgh, and we're delighted of such an important piece by her. Talking about paintings that are in Ryan Mutter's oils here, we have gorgeous typical, I suppose you'd call it, Ryan, of Steeltown, the men, recession times and all the rest of it, with the black and white, although it is actually oil. And these are his wonderful new style landscapes, which are so vibrant altogether. We'll jump straight up to the Yeards, going to totally into sort of poetic, the Yeards, and almost a little bit Lowry style, the way he's painted the characters. I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but just to let you see new paintings. But we were talking about Kirsty Wither earlier. This is what I suppose more typically Kirsty Wither, the fabulous way she's got about 8 different shades of pinks and reds, and the yellows and the blues just come out beautifully. Again, it's texture. It's an oil and canvas by Kirsty Wither. Then I wanted you to look at the great big happy Liz Knox. We actually sold Liz Knox's gorgeous painting early on, which was called The Pink Bookmark. And so it's great that now Pride of Place we've got hearts and flowers. Tom will drop in Pink Bookmark to let you see that it was snapped up at I think it was actually bought as a Christmas gift, and it was so beautiful. Let's go around here, Tom, to talk about, this is an important painting. As everybody knows, Glenn Schooler's one of the most recognised and highly successful artists in Scotland. I don't think Glenn will mind me saying he's now in his 70s, and he was on holiday in Mallorca. And I love Palma. I even managed to get, sadly, only 2 days this year, but that's a long story. But this painting, Glenn happened to say to me, "Oh, David, Carol and I are in Mallorca." And I said, "You know, I would love a painting of Palma." And Glenn and his wife Carol love people watching in the cafes and everything. And this, I would just say, is bang on. A chap leaning against the lamppost, the horse and the carriage in Palma. It's called Waiting for a Fair, Palma. Look at the way, you know, artists like Glenn go to town in very, very expensive and very, very beautiful gold leaf frames with a little bit of distress in them as well. But I just think this painting utterly evokes sunshine, happy times. And I don't know about how many of you have been to Mallorca, and particularly Palma, and I think you'll agree, it gets it, doesn't it? Have a look, Tom, at the Anne Skinner, would you please? Anne Skinner, again, is one of our newest signings, and it's the clarity which Anne seems to pick up in the colour in the sky. Tom will drop in 2 paintings that sold for Anne just at the beginning of December. One was called Pink Reflections at Crivy, and the other one was called Puffy Clouds at Crivy. A lot of you will look at the name Crivy and you'll think, "No, it's Crovy, David, it's Crovy." But if you're local, you'll know it's Crivy. So really delighted, actually, to have got this big one, Pride of Place, here for Anne Skinner. Just drop down a little bit, Tom, and we'll talk about, I don't think these were actually here for the very beginning of the first half of this winter show. And this is a gorgeous, typically Jack Morrocco painting of Cafe on the corner at Aix, that's Aix-en-Provence. Class. Again, I talked about Glenn Schooler's framing. Look at Jack Morrocco's. Just beautiful, and where we'd all like to be. In fact, that's a place I've never been to and I'd love to go to. We'll just jump very quickly to the sweet Tim Coburn. This painting is called The Evening's End. Well, while I'm chatting, every now and again I'll tell you what's been selling, and Tim Coburn's paintings, Red Dress and Scottish Early Snow, both sold very quickly at the beginning of the show. So I'm delighted to have this one here, Evening's End. I know I'm jumping around, but let's finish off, Tom, talking about Jack Morrocco, because everybody knows his price level, they know the investment level, and they know how many we sell. And this is just utter, I don't know. It's a delight, you know. I've got a studio still life, as you call them, by Jack in my own home. And it makes me smile every day when I go through the door. And this one, Violin and Harlequin, again, there's a little bit of everything, I suppose, in it. There's colour, there's storytelling, and there's just artistic ability when you look at the way everything's positioned, and confidence, I suppose. Interesting here, Tom, we'll talk about David Schofield. By the way, Fiona in the gallery is working on a project just now where we're going to, because all the walls have been painted a new colour, and we're going to have tags under Fiona's instruction. The tags are going to be in grey now to blend in instead of sticking out and detracting over the painting. But this gorgeous painting here is Time Blows By. Talking about David Schofield again, David's done well with us. We sold Winter Song, we sold We Will Wait for Our Miracle at the first half of the winter sale, and I would be surprised if this fabulous piece which evokes David's view from the windows of where he lives in Cumley Bank in Edinburgh onto communal gardens with a lot of artistic license and all the windows open. Another one by David Schofield here. This is huge, and this painting actually, we really actually thought it pretty much sold, but it was just, I think the person had bought it for above their mantelpiece, or reserved it rather. And when it got down, it was just too big. And this is a service which I keep saying to people, we're genuinely delighted to let you try a painting. And I would say maybe 70% of the people that would say, try it at home, turn into a sale. But this was just a bit too big for the people, hence why it's back in the gallery, and it's gorgeous, the colours. And this is Evening Light, a Galanach, and there's so much in this, different shades of purple. It's varnished very well, there's turquoises and there's boats. And again, what I would say, a lot of storytelling. So if I could just talk about bronzes. So I think everybody knows that the famous Lawrence Broderick isn't sculpting anymore. I'm not going to quote an age, but Lawrence is elderly, and so he's no longer sculpting. So we are cock a whoop to have got our hands on three very important pieces. This is Leaping Salmon 4. Utterly gorgeous, everything in the verdigris and is bronze. It's very heavy. It's the Leaping Salmon. I think it's just incredible. I don't know, Tom, if you can zoom in here and you see the signatories, the detail, and the ability to get the balance of the salmon on the rock, or the rock depicting maybe the river. I'm not an angler, but I think this very important piece could be in a study, it could be in a hallway as you go in, for anybody with a love of wildlife and fishing. There's an even bigger one. It's just arrived in Aberdeen. In fact, it's huge, much bigger salmon as well. So if you're after serious bronzes, please do give me a shout. Let's go over to Michael Clark, please, Tom. Michael Clark, I think a lot of you who are regularly following us will know that Michael Clark's been on quite a run of sales of late. It's funny because a Sunday beach walk, they'll drop in as we're talking about, a Sunday beach walk is sold. Lunch at Luca has just gone, and so has, these are all dropping in as I'm talking, I think, Paris Winter. They've all sold, and it's really funny because I get it wrong, and I would have put money on it that this beauty, Spring Arrives in Our Garden, would have been one of the first to sell. Got it totally wrong. Go right up, please, Tom. Anne Oram. Anne Oram, again, Glenn Schooler, Michael Clark, Jack Morrocco, David Smith. You know, Anne, again, is highly regarded. In this painting here, we've just popped the tag up there for a second. Chinese lanterns in the new jug. It's acrylic on gesso board. Anne will often paint with watercolour. She'll often paint with oil. Terribly talented. But this is just, it would look great in a dining room, but it would look equally as good. You know, we've put it against the cream wool, against the blue wool in a modern home. Just delightful. Have a look here. Just here, Tom. These are two new paintings by George Birrell. George is great, and again, highly regarded, and everything sells. But what I particularly love is these have got a bit of a twist on what George has been doing of late. We've got red and green, and it's has developed a new love of green. I'll move this a second for you, Tom, and so you can go in here to look at this one as well. And this is Village Park. It really lets you see, they're not just paintings of houses. There's the light on. There's all the different textures. There's, in the distance, the village, the church. And I just sometimes think people don't totally take time to look at the paintings. So how about we look up here, please, Tom, just whilst we're there. Ruth Corbett. Again, Ruth's one of our newer artists. Her painting Spoilt for Choice sold very quickly. And these are two new paintings. I do apologise about the tags being inside the frames. That's because we're not wanting to damage the walls just yet. They're still a little bit wet. And we've got clementines in a bowl, and we've got ginger georgian blue tits. These are great value. I mean, look at these, 580 and 850 pounds. Have a look around here, please, Tom. We've got Robert Kelsey's gorgeous painting. I was talking earlier about Crivy or Crivy. This says Sand End. There's so many arguments, but as far as I'm aware, up in Banffshire, which this painting is of, the locals call it Sanine. I think, I better watch, I'll be getting myself wrong. Utter class. Robert Kelsey, another big name, beautiful frames, never holds back. Here we have two gorgeous watercolours by Jenny Matthews. Jenny's going to be one of the artists, in our new Meet the Artist series, our latest Meet the Artist series. I hope you all remember that we have a lot of interviews on the website where you look under Meet the Artist videos and you can really learn about the artist. So Jenny Matthews will be one of the ones to come next. Have a look at this here. Literally just in, not even unwrapped here at the gallery. This is incredible. I mean, this painting, excuse me a minute, Tom. September Sun, it was being painted in September of this year and only finished, I think, in November, then off to the framers and then into us in December. 1.1 metre by 1.35 metres. So I would think that is pretty close to 6 feet by 4.5 feet, going back to be old-fashioned. Jenny Matthews was, I think she was taught by Dame Elizabeth Blackadder. She won so many awards for her paintings representing the country as well, for watercolours. And can you imagine if you had, and it's beautifully framed, it's got glass because it's watercolour, and if you had a conservatory or you had a lovely big new white kitchen and you thought, we want something that's not going to interfere, but we want something that's a bright colour and is a proper painting. And that's how I would describe Jenny Matthews' paintings. We're just trying to make up our minds where we're going to hang this, if it's going to be in the window or wherever. But I think you'll agree, utterly stunning. So Tom's currently showing you Deserted Croft in Ballater. That's another one that I got wrong. I would have thought would sell straight away, and funnily enough, hasn't. But everybody knows, again, that David Smith's one of our most successful artists, and his Cullen painting, which we'll drop in now as we're chatting, it's now hanging in a beautiful house in Aberdeen, and they're utterly delighted. Atlantic Salmon has also sold, and so has a St Andrews Harbour, a blue crawfish, a shoal crab, all sold. And Tom's now looking at a new painting of St Andrews Harbour, which is just cracking. It's called Pots and Creels at St Andrews, and I think again, it's just a painting that could go anywhere. Move over, Tom, could you just, whilst I'm sitting here about to wait for you, these are, I think we had 12 Andrew Thompson paintings, and the last couple of weeks, Celadon vase and oranges, blue and white, Sheenis jars have all sold, and these are all we currently have left by Andrew Thompson. He's trying hard to paint at the moment, but aren't they gorgeous as a group and utterly beautiful? Just, Tom, while you have a second, just underneath at the bottom, there's a little Lynn Patullo painting there. And we've sold Happy Grandpa, we've sold Daddy's Little Helper, and there are still a couple of Lynn's paintings here, which actually brings me on, Tom, if you want to come down here just now. So many people, in fact, one of my artists said to me yesterday, "Oh gosh, David, your winter sale's been a huge success." And I said, I don't think so, because funnily enough, a lot of our smaller paintings, like for Christmas presents, didn't sell. It was really quite bizarre, because normally at Christmas time it's small bronzes, it's small paintings that are sold for Christmas gifts. That was actually, in all honesty, a bit of a flop this year. But, bizarrely, big paintings have sold, you know, big price paintings. Ian Faulkner, we had 3 new paintings which Ian had worked on for a long time with lots of detail. They were called Warm Sun Winter. They were called Pink Amber, and one was called Wake. Not 1, not 2, but all 3 part of our winter show sold within, I think it was the first week or the second week of the winter sale. Stuart Luke Gatherer, gorgeous important painting called Meantime, sold as well. So it's fickle, you know. I'm looking here at this bronze which I was talking to you about, and we're never very sure. And I know all of you who, you know, watch these videos right through about what's happening here at Ballater, quite enjoy the chit-chat about what's selling, what's arriving. Joe Hargan, I have people waiting for Joe Hargan's paintings, and we managed to get a new painting about 2 weeks ago called Who's Done It Now? And it made it here, and within 2 days of going on the website, it was sold. Who's Done It Now? And in the earlier part of the winter show, we had a question of balance, and also sold within something like 3 days. There is an important older Joe Hargan from the late 1990s or mid-1990s that Joe's promised me. So watch this space, or if you're a Hargan collector, it's very different, it's very beautiful, is going to be coming my way. Jennifer Mackenzie, White Lilies in a Blue Vase, sold quickly, but we've got quite a few of Jennifer's. Jackie Henderson sells a lot of paintings, beautiful painting called My Favourite Cup. That could probably have sold 4 times. Have a look at Jackie's painting called Mabel in her new orange jumper. There was a fight for that painting, and somebody up near Inverness got it before anybody else. But we must have had, Tom said to me, no, David, there's been about 20 inquiries through the internet on Mabel in her orange jumper. So I mentioned this to Jackie Henderson, and for the last month, Jackie's been painting more dogs with a selection of jumpers. So I've not actually seen them yet, but Tom's going to drop them in for you to see. Again, a sort of heads up. And they're not expensive, so bear that in mind as well. Ewan McClure. So Ewan McClure, so many of you follow him through his appearance on the Portrait Artist of the Year, the BP Portrait Artist of the Year. Ewan had a gorgeous painting in the catalogue, which hopefully you've all received just before Christmas. It's had a great response, and Ewan's painting, White Jug Floral, again, sold within minutes of appearing here, and again, we could have sold it so many times. Whilst we're talking about him also, if you remember in our last video, the one and only Denise Findlay sent me 2 huge paintings. I'm just kind of trying to get Tom to nod or shake his head. From what I remember, they were in the window of the start of the winter show. So cast your mind back. Tom will drop them in and let you see. Sundance and Greyston Moonlight were the names of these 2 huge, beautiful paintings of dancers, sort of 3 Grace type dancers. They looked utterly gorgeous in our window, and they went like that as a pair to one of the most beautiful houses in the Aberdeenshire area, and they are such a triumph in that house. On the back of that, Denise has 2 new paintings for me. A Moment with Madame Monet and Glasgow Fans. These paintings would be fabulous as a pair if you've got room. They're utterly beautiful. They're 70 by 70s, including the frames, not short of 1 metre by 1 metre each. Denise is paying homage to famous artists and some of their works. You know, she paints meticulously crafted miniatures of the famous works juxtapositioned in her own compositions alongside her own models. Utterly beautiful. So I couldn't be happier that the 2 huge paintings we sold have now been followed up by 2 new paintings, a lot smaller, but equally as beautiful, from Denise. Talking about a little bit, what you seem to want to know, our private sales section. So I keep getting asked, so this isn't something that we overly promote, but it's something that the people like yourselves who really follow what we're up to do have a look at. The private sales section is when we're selling the occasional painting on behalf of our regular clients, not people that just knock on the door saying, do you want to buy anti-murals, such and such. So we're very, very strict about what goes in there and what doesn't. And there was a gorgeous, tiny little painting called Venice by Carlo Rossi. And it really was almost, I don't know, really very, very small and beautiful. And it's now, again, in a particularly lovely home in Glasgow Southside. And just some people have got a nice mixed collection, and it just looks great. So don't forget about the private sales section. And occasionally, I would have to say, because these paintings can be old, they can be from somebody who's no longer here and the family doesn't appeal to the family's decor, and you can sometimes get a bargain in the private sales section. So anyway, into February, Ballater Gallery, I hope that we have more visitors because it's been a bit quiet. A lot of these paintings that have sold have been people who've approached us and asked us to do the usual videos. We'll do anything for you. And courier to London, we've sent 2 paintings last week to Florida. And in fact, I think I just heard about a bronze being sent to, where was the bronze being sent to? Yes, the bronze was being sent to Hong Kong. So we'll do what we can for you, get the paintings to you and the bronzes. And if you have any queries, any questions, get in touch with me at david@ballatergallery.co.uk. Thanks.